Pode começar, Gil.
So, hi, Mikaela. So nice to have you here with us.
Hi, thank you. Hang on, let me just fix my name. I realized it's always.
Pode começar, Gil.
Ela tá falando. So nice to have you here with us.
Hi, thank you.
No Manu.
Tá, deixa eu arrumar aqui. Pronto.
Pronto?
Deu.
Então,
Oi, gente. Oi, todo mundo.
Então vai. Posso ir?
Pode.
Thank you again for being here with us today, for accepting our invitation to be with us at FDF Brazil. So for all those who don't know Mikaela Martin is an Australian documentary and fine art photographer. She is currently living in South Florida in the USA. She used to be an actor. She was an actor and a filmmaker before picking up a camera professionally. She is a mother too. She has won numerous awards. She has had her work published. She had a work published last year. Actually, right, Mikaela? You had your work published last year?
Yeah, in a journal of pictures.
In New York? Yeah.
Yes.
And numerous awards. She's won like numerous awards. And aside from doing half-day live sessions and full-day live sessions, you also do personal projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you're here today because we also want to talk to you a lot about your personal projects. And you're going to start talking to you about your how you made the leap from a career as an actress and filmmaker to documentary photographer. How did that happen?
Sure. First, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. There's so much about your community that I want to know about, and everything that everyone's doing. Anyway, you know what, that shift from one art world to another kind of happened without me really realizing it was happening. I was taking pictures of my kids, and then I suddenly started seeing or realizing I had something to say with, something else other than just taking photos of them. There was something else happening. And then an old acting teacher of mine said that she saw me in the work. She recognized my voice in the work, and I hadn't realized that myself. And she said, "Oh, this is the same artist. You're still the same artist." And that was a really big moment for me, because I think I then gave myself permission to, just take it seriously and know that I had a voice already, I guess.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, that was, I guess about 6 years ago. Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago. And I never wanted to stop acting. I still really love it. I never thought I would stop, but it's a very difficult career. I mean, photography is a very difficult career. Any art is difficult, but at least I can pick up a camera whenever I want,
Mm-hmm.
And that.
You're not acting now. You're not acting.
No.
Okay.
No, I think I'm scared to now. I've become so used to having the camera, being on the other side. I like being on the other side now. I get very self-conscious when I'm now suddenly in front of a camera. It feels very, very different.
That's funny. Yeah. That's interesting. Now, tell us about your project, like Lord, Lead Your Mother Alone. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. The title always makes me laugh when I hear it. So I think, oh God, it sounds so awful.
Oh, Lord. I love it.
It came from I have to give my husband credit because he happened to say that to my eldest daughter, who's nearly 10. And he they're just mom nonstop. And he said, good Lord, leave your mother alone. And I thought, oh, that's that's the title. That's what I've been working on. And we moved down to Florida from New York last year, in the beginning of the pandemic, and it doesn't really feel like home here, and I don't really know people here. And so, like everybody, we were just inside with the kids, this whole year. And this has really been a time for me to explore this work and deepen this work. So I started making portraits of them and of myself, and of what that isolation has felt like, and my relationship with them, but really my own relationship with motherhood, being a mother, and the hard parts about that. But, and I've said this a couple of times recently, even though the images are about the hard stuff, they're also really about love. And I always find, even in the tension when I'm making these images, the tension between me and my kids always then somehow seems to disappear. Like it's a dance, one minute you're great and then the next you're struggling. And I know that every parent understands that. So I guess I'm trying to communicate what I've always felt about being a mother, and try, seeing if other mothers see themselves, and I'm pretty sure that they do.
We're just looking at some pictures.
Eu acho que seria legal falar em português um pouquinho sobre o projeto. Tem como?
Tem. Vou traduzir um pouquinho. I'm just going to translate some of what you just said, okay?
Sure.
Então aqui, gente, ela está falando desse projeto que ela fez, que é desse livro, que virou o título, né? Na verdade, ela falou que o título quem deu, acabou dando, foi o marido dela, que falava muito isso para a filha mais velha, acho que a filha de 10 anos, que todo mundo ficava em cima, né? As filhas muito em cima, mãe, e ele falava, ai, meu Deus, deixa sua mãe em paz. E ela falou, pronto, é esse aí, esse vai ser o título do livro, o título perfeito, né? Então, eles tinham se mudado há pouco tempo, e eles não conheciam muita gente, e ela começou a fazer essas fotos, bem deles mesmo, né, da relação dela com as filhas, e não era para ser só a parte dura, né, a parte difícil da maternidade, mas também a parte amorosa, e que, na verdade, a maternidade, as mulheres, né, quem é mãe sabe disso, a gente tem essa dança, né, essa coisa que é meio de ONG, é a dança mesmo, né, que tem essa parte difícil da maternidade, mas que logo vem aquela parte gostosa, né, então você acaba de ter a parte difícil, vem a parte gostosa, e é sempre uma dança, né, quem é mãe sabe, e que pode ver no trabalho. Fala.
Pergunta para ela, Gil, como que foi essa mudança de país para a fotografia dela?
Mikaela, how did you see any change in your photography when you moved from Australia to the US? Did it impact your photography? Did you see any impact in your photography?
I didn't take pictures back in Australia. I really want to go home so I can take pictures, but I've been living in the States for about 13 years, and so I really haven't done it back home. But I did even notice a shift going from New York to here, but that was probably more of a shift into what the pandemic was, and that really allowed me to slow down with my work in a very different way and be very selfish and really take the time to look for what I wanted to say and let whatever is around me speak to me and follow that.
Quer que eu traduza essa parte, Manu?
Alguém quer, gente, que a Gil faça essa tradução? O pessoal tá aí que ouvindo. Acho que não, pode ir, Gil.
Okay.
A próxima pergunta.
Eu não estou vendo o chat, então se alguém quiser fazer pergunta, tem que falar, Manu.
É para fazer. Faz a tradução.
Ah, sim. Então, ela disse o seguinte, que ela não teve diferença na fotografia de mudança de país, porque ela não fotografava na Austrália, né? A diferença que ela viu na fotografia, ela pode dizer com o Covid, que foi quando ela se forçou mais, né, a parar, que foi uma coisa mais... que ela teve mais introspectiva, né? Acho que todo mundo sentiu isso, de ter que parar mais e se olhar mais, né?
Ok, pode ir para a próxima, Gil.
Alguém quer fazer mais alguma pergunta? Eu posso para a minha próxima pergunta.
Estou cuidando do chat aqui. Se alguém fizer, eu falo.
Mikaela, about your project about Good Lord, Leave Your Mother Alone, how important is it in your documentary family photography, in your work?
Oh, this project, how important?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's very important because I guess because it's personal, it means I can, I guess I approach it in a very different way to the work I do with clients. But I'm really learning by doing it to try to apply some of those things to work when I do work with clients. I'm trying to figure out how to slow down more, even though you don't have a lot of time, but in the moment try and just slow down and really take in what's happening. Without that, I hate that there's that pressure to make a result, and I don't ever feel like that when I'm working on this project or other personal projects. And I'm really trying to figure out how to do that, because I think that's where so much of the joy is in the making, when you're not expecting something.
We have to deliver something, right? Like,
yeah, it's so difficult. Yeah, because having that artistic voice it's the most important thing for me. It's where I really connect to the story in seeing something and trying to figure out what I have to say about it, even if it is another family. This is a project I did with Rowena Meadows in Australia.
I love that.
And it was so much fun. And that really explored similar themes to my mother series. A lot of it is about motherhood, and what the things that we lose of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we want to reclaim again, I guess.
Eu acho que seria legal, Gil, se você conseguir fazer um resumo das respostas, tipo da resposta dela em português. Tem como?
Acho que vai demorar demais, Manu.
Então tá, deixa que depois no YouTube tem tradução, mas se alguém tiver dúvida, escreve no chat que a gente vai respondendo. Vai lá.
A gente vai se perdendo nas outras.
Tá. Tem problema.
Okay, so let's see. Now let's talk about your work in documentary family photography. So how is the market for this type of work where you live? Like, is there a lot of interest? What format of documentary do people choose? Like, is there more interest for full day in live sessions, for half day in live sessions?
To be honest, I'm really just stepping into what that is down here, because things are only just opening up again. So I'm only just starting to take clients. I do talk to a lot of people about the genre here, and the only thing I've noticed about Florida is that people have a more traditional idea of what family photography is. So there's a lot of conversation that I think needs to be had, and some education, and I think a lot of people would be really interested in it, but they have a very traditional idea about family portraits. I met a woman the other day when I was getting my vaccine, and we were talking about it. She said, "Oh, I need family photos," and I explained the type of photography it was, and she made a face and she said, "Oh, that sounds very intrusive. I don't know about that." And
why would anyone do that, right?
yeah, people really sometimes do react like that, and so maybe I got some hard work ahead of me down here, but hopefully there's a market for it. I know that a lot of people love doing sessions in Florida at Disney, and there's a few documentary family photographers doing a lot of Disney sessions, and which look like a lot of fun. But I think I'm more interested in kind of quiet, introspective moments, and so I don't know if the theme parks are for me.
How was it in New York?
New York, there are definitely, possibly because I had more connections there, and so much of this work is through word of mouth, and so I met more people. I came across more people through people that I met, and there were definitely more people who like readily understood, oh, okay, I get it. I get what you're doing, and I was sometimes more willing to see themselves in that way. But it's a mixed bag everywhere you go. You'll find your people, the people who are interested in it wherever you go, I think.
But was it more half day live sessions or full day live sessions?
Oh, okay. I more full day, and I prefer to do full day sessions, just because I like to really take time in those first few hours for all the ice to melt, the ice to break.
Did you sleep over, or do you just?
Yeah, I've had a couple of sessions where I've stayed over, 2 or 3 sessions where a couple of times was because I had to travel a little further, so I stayed with the family.
Okay.
Other local ones where I've then gone in the afternoon, stayed for the afternoon and bedtime routine, gone home, and then I've come back again in the morning. And I love that. It gives me a break, it gives the family a break, but then you're also there for these really, meaningful, interesting routines of their day. Yeah.
Alguma pergunta sobre isso, gente? Sobre como que ela faz a sessão? Que ela está falando que em Nova York ela fazia mais a sessão ela faz ou 6 horas ou o dia todo. E nas de dia todo, que é o que ela prefere, ela fazia assim. Ela ia muito, quando era perto, ela chegava no lanche da noite, aí ela fazia o lanche da noite com a família, pegava a rotina do sono, depois ela voltava para casa, dormia, e aí ela voltava no outro dia, de manhã, e ficava até a hora do almoço. Então, dava essa quebrada. Ela descansava e a família também descansava dela. Achei bem interessante.
Nossa, muito bom.
Alguém quer perguntar alguma coisa? Também nunca tinha ouvido. Essa foi interessante.
Bom, não, acho que não, Gil.
Interessante, né? And Mikaela, how do you? What are the options in your price and your quotes? Do you include prints? Do you include albums?
Oh, I still have questions for myself about this right now.
IPS, how is it?
Mine right now is all inclusive. And that's it's more I won't explain that. Basically, the hero of what the center of what I offer is the book, not an album, a book. Like I really like to be able to curate a family's story. And so I don't put orders in, sequence. I really try and pair images that might live together but might not at first make sense as far as the order of the day. And that's what I spend most of my time working on is the book. I then offer a couple of large prints as part of that package. And then I give a gallery, and then I have the option of the client can buy the full res, high res images so they can then print, and I give them a whole lot of guidelines about printing and printing gifts and whatever. I think sometimes I ask myself whether that's the right approach. I think it's because I feel like I'm an artist before I am a business. And so I think if I were having a whole line of products that you could buy and, that whole a la carte system, I know I might make more money and it probably really works, but it just doesn't feel right for me. So right now that's how I do it.
Totally get it.
And I hate the business bits. I find it really difficult. I find that really challenging.
Get you. Same thing with me. Any questions with that? Does anyone have any questions about this? Manu?
Alguém tem alguma pergunta sobre esse assunto? A Nai está traduzindo lá no nosso WhatsApp a conversa. Então está facilitando muito. Acredito que não. Eu estou mandando para você a pergunta no WhatsApp, tá? Depois dá uma olhadinha. No final, para a gente saber como ela vê a fotografia documental aqui do Brasil.
Ah, tá. Você pode deixar para o finalzinho.
Isso.
Ok. Alguma pergunta sobre... Vamos ver aqui. Do you always... question here. Do you always have your camera at hand?
Yeah. Yeah. I go through periods where I don't want to go near it, and I'll either make myself get it to really try and flex a muscle, or try and, especially if I feel stuck, sometimes it's good to try and just take it out anyway and just make some bad photos, or they might feel like they're bad photos, but you never know. And I guess because my personal project right now is about my own daily life with my kids, I use it a lot because there's always something I'll either see or I'm looking for. So yeah, it's always there.
And do you, there's a question here I'm wanting to ask, or is it? How do you see the documentary photography, the Brazilian documentary photography? I don't know if you follow the Brazilian documentary photography.
Oh, as a whole, that's the question I have. Like, how big is the community, and how have photographers there transitioned from other genres? And I have more questions on that than I do have answers. I know a few of you, but beyond that, that's it. And I have Brazilian friends, but I don't know a lot of work from Brazil. So no.
Yeah, we gotta introduce that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot. We have a big community, I would say. There what? We have like 80, almost 90 members.
Wow.
At FDF, and I'd say there's a growing community. Many Brazilian photographers growing, coming from like lifestyle photographers, wanting to become or wanting to do the work, from lifestyle photographers to documentary photographers, and like very good photographers, I'd say. Good
E
work.
ela
Like amazing
fotografa,
work.
ela fotografa partos, Gil.
Do you do birth photography?
I don't. I've done like maternity, but I would like to do birth. But I've never done a birth session. But I'd love to.
Not maternity, just maternity sessions.
Yeah, but more documentary maternity. Yeah.
Gil, você fez já a pergunta. Eu não sei se a gente fez essa pergunta, mas eu acho que seria interessante ela falar sobre a importância do projeto autoral, na fotografia documental, na nossa fotografia comercial, e na construção da narrativa, porque a narrativa dela, dos projetos, é muito boa quando a gente vê no site, sabe? E eu
o que
queria
ela falou é que ela ajuda.
Oi?
Não, o que ela falou, minha internet está ruim aqui. O que ela falou é que ajuda Tá ruim, né? Tá falhando.
Tem problema. Não, tá
o que
dando
ela
para te
falou é que ajuda. Tá. O que ela falou é que ajuda a você a slow down, assim, a ficar fala, gente, me ajuda aqui as palavras, a pensar mais, sabe?
ficar mais
slow down em
leve.
português.
Ficar mais leve.
Parar, não ficar tão acelerado, né? Pensar mais, né?
Entendi.
Mas eu posso perguntar de novo.
Mas eu tenho a pergunta. Até fiz a pergunta, comecei a pensar e esqueci da pergunta. Pode ir para frente.
So what Manu was asking, I think I asked you about the good Lord, your mother alone, in regards of your professional work, was how your personal projects interfere with your professional work. Like doing personal projects, how does that interfere in a good way? How does that, how does it relate to your professional work? That make it better, or how does that help, with your professional work?
Yeah,
making a personal project.
I think as I like kind of what I said to you mentioned earlier, it really made me notice that I physically even feel different when I'm making professional client work to when I'm doing my own work. There's a tension. There's a tension when I'm working with clients. Even if I'm doing okay, there's still an internal like engine just racing, just because of the pressure that I put on myself, really. And I don't feel like that when I'm making my own work. And part of that is also because of time and the amount that you have to pack into those hours. And then I have all the time in the world to create my own work. But I'm really trying to observe what's happening physically with my body, even in both situations, just out of interest to figure out how I can bring some of that like inner calm and confidence and curiosity into the client work, because I do get really overwhelmed. Just I think everyone does.
Would you say that doing personal projects, how with your client work, like being more present in your client work, being more mindful in your client work? Yeah.
And also to let myself take the same risks that I do in my personal work. Because I'll often find coming back from a client shoot, sometimes the first couple of 100 images feel boring to me, feel like, safe or something. And I think I can figure out a way to just take more risks in client work. And sometimes it's in your head where you think, oh, but a client's not going to want that. They're not going to want to see that. That's my weird brain. But that's why they booked you, because of your voice and your point of view. It's just, I don't think I've been doing it for long enough yet to be confident in that. But it's a good step to be able to see that and go, oh, okay, I can do that in the client work too.
Yeah, and also the narrative. I was just saying that when you're doing personal projects, you train the narrative. I think you get used to train the narrative, like thinking about narratives. And
yeah, that does help, because you've had all this time to really fill with words and ideas within yourself about, oh, that's what this means. But you're not going to find that immediately when you meet a family about, oh, okay, well, what is this story? But I think you maybe don't need the narrative to make the work. But I agree, Manu. I think, that does make it easier to know what you want to photograph when you know what it is that you're saying and why you're saying it.
It's trained, right?
Yeah.
You're just trained for that. Yeah. Now, so what do you understand for? What do you think about? And what is documentary photography for you?
What is documentary photography for me?
For you. How would you describe that?
É sempre uma pergunta difícil.
That's Manu's question, okay? It's not.
It sounds like a simple question until you have to answer it, and it's actually a really big question. It's really a way for me to have a conversation with the world around me. All the things that I think I had said once before, I said to someone that all the big questions that I have basically about being alive that I don't have answers for, I can use my camera to try to understand them more. So, and documentary photography lets me ask the questions without necessarily needing to answer them. It lets me, it feels like almost like a sacred thing. So in a way, it's hard to talk about it in a very public way because it does feel very personal. But it's a dialogue I can have with what's around me. Does that make sense?
Does it make sense?
Fez. Mas eu gostaria de saber também, Gil, se ela acredita que a fotografia documental ela é 100% real.
Okay. So do you think documentary photography is 100% real?
Oh, that's a big one.
Does it represent reality, like 100% reality?
I don't know that it's your version of reality. It's your perspective. Your truth is going to be different from the next person's. It doesn't mean, though, that makes your truth any less real than the next person's. So it's all truth, it's all real, but it's your interpretation of that. I also think that, and what I try and do a lot in my own work is document something that is real, but that could live in a moment that's unreal. That there's somewhere in an in-between place that I try to have my images live in, and I'm not very good at articulating that. I'm sorry. But I am interested in like metaphysical realms that are not on the ground. So, but it's still true. It's still something that I'm feeling and experiencing and seeing in a way.
Ótimo. O pessoal no grupo está chamando ela de linda, Gil. Já queriam saber qual é o creme hidratante que ela passa na pele. A Nai. Diz que ela é muito linda.
Thanks, you're so beautiful. People want to know what facial cream you're using.
Me?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I just use Veleda. You know that?
Yeah, it's Veleda.
You need me to hold it up?
Thank you, Mikaela.
Wow. Thank you.
Alguém tem alguma pergunta, gente? Oi, Monique. Deixa eu ver se aqui no grupo alguém tem. A Nai está fazendo a tradução, mas acho que não tem mais perguntas aqui não, Gil. Você tem alguma aí?
Yeah. Oh, I do have questions. What do you like to read? What do you like to watch? Movies, series, books?
I mean, lately a lot of photo books, more than novels. And I'll be honest, ever since I had kids, I've found it very hard to, even start a book sometimes. So photo books have been, easier to digest. And I mean, even films, I used to watch a lot of film. I really love a lot of classic cinema, a lot of like Criterion Collection films, Fellini, all those guys. I love Cassavetes and David Lynch and anything that's exploring the subconscious somehow. I'm really interested in and visually in that kind of cinematography. I just went back to watch Twin Peaks, which is so weird. And right now I'm watching that Kate Winslet series that just came out. I think she's great.
What's the name of that?
It's called The Mayor of Easttown.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Set in Philadelphia. She's a detective, but she's great. Yeah. That's what I'm watching.
And what do you like to do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies?
I used to. Honestly, once I really started taking photos, I didn't do much else. And I don't know if anyone in the community who's watching is only just kind of starting out, but that would be my biggest tip, is to just don't stop. Just keep taking pictures. It's the only way to really grow, is just, do it obsessively. So that's it's pretty sad. I don't do much else. What else do I like to do? I used to sew a lot, actually. I used to, in my spare time, I was crafty. I liked making things. And I love vintage clothes. I'm really into vintage fashion, and I spend a lot of time in thrift stores buying old things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a hobby. I do have a hobby.
Ok. Gil, tem mais alguma das perguntas?
Não, que a gente fez são aquelas. Você quer perguntar mais alguma coisa?
Eu tô tranquila. Alguém tem mais alguma pergunta, gente? Não? nem falar nada, podem abrir os microfones, gente, pelo amor de Deus.
Abram os microfones.
Não inglês. Monique, que fala também, a Nai. A gente pode agradecer ela, Gil, por estar aqui com a gente, por conversar.
All right, Mikaela, I think our time is almost up. So much, well, I want to thank you again. I'm so thankful for your time, for taking the time to be with us today.
Oh, thank you. I was really looking forward to it.
it.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Manu.
Thank you. Foi ótimo e até a próxima.
Obrigada.
Oh.
That's it. That's all I know.
Foi ótimo.
Okay.
É isso, Gil.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ok. Bye, bye.
Ciao.
Bye, tchau.
Bye.